कुछ करते हैं, किसका किसी मिलता है।
Oh, हाँ ठीक
यही
है।
है, चलो घरवा बावे ना। घर
Hey guys, okay. So we discussed about couple of tags in the last session. Okay. Uh, from like the today's session, we'll be moving further and like talking about this styling of web pages. Okay. How do we do that? We'll talk about CSS, its introduction, how do we link to the pages, and we'll talk about couple of properties styles which are important to like understand CSS, right? So with this thing, this will be the agenda, okay, of discussion. Okay, let me share my screen, and I'll also open the document. We have a track of what we are doing. Okay. So basically, what we did in the last session was we discussed about table tag. We discussed about its element header and all those sort of things. We also discussed about form input tags, and apart from that, we discussed about how many types of tags we have, like inline and block tags. Okay. Then self-closing tags थे हमारे पास, and we also had like the normal tags we have, both opening and closing tags. We discussed about attributes. Okay, so there were several input tags, but they have different behavior उनके attribute के base पे. Okay, so जैसा attribute था, like the same way uh, we were having the input tags, right? Now today's session will be more focused on styling of those tags. Okay, styling of CSS. What is it? We'll see, and then we'll move forward. Okay, so starting with CSS, how many of you have already started with CSS? How many of you have started with CSS? Okay, so none of you have started. Okay,
I have started.
okay, okay, that's good. Okay, so the point of CSS will be everything related to is styling. Okay, that's good. So everything related to styling will be covering in like how the page should look, how the text should be formatted, image should be formatted, where my content will be placed. So these kind of things will be taken care by CSS. Okay, so we'll just like start with an example. Before that, I will create. Okay, let me create a folder for you guys so that okay, I guess we already have one. Yeah, so we have one here. I will create a new file. I will say uh, HTML and style. So HTML and style. Okay, so starting with couple of tags. Let's say block tag. Okay, inside this, let's have some span tag. I will increase the size. Okay, and let me write some text. Okay, so okay. Next, after this, I will be having a paragraph tag, and finally, I can have a inline element. So inline elements can be of like we have many of the inline elements. Okay, let's have an anchor tag, okay? And it is not a self-closing tag. So why do we use anchor tag? Any guesses? Why do we have anchor tag?
For the link,
Okay. So what kind of link we have in anchor tag? Any guesses?
Hypertext.
Correct. So hypertext can be any type of resource, right? Image can be there, maybe another HTML page is there, any CSS is there, or any type of resource you can have as a hyperlink. Okay, it does not have to be a page; it can be anything. So this is what we have. Okay, let's try to put some style, but we'll do that with browser first, and then we'll come back here. Okay, I will open this and let's increase the size. Okay. Now, if I talk about this one, like having some CSS. Okay, do you guys know what is the basic font size? Like, what is the by default font size of an element? By default font size. If I do not apply any font, what is the size?
I guess 22.
22. Are you sure?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so yeah, so basically, yeah, nice try. It is 16 pixels. Okay, so by default, 16 pixel is for whatever normal text is there. Apart from headings, okay, headings are different because they are like headings. Okay, if I talk about normal text, so the basic size is 16 pixels. Okay, now div being a block element. Okay, see this. There are some couple of things we need to understand learning CSS. Every block element is treated as a rectangular box. Okay, it is treated as a rectangular box in our page. What do I mean by rectangular box in my page? If I hover over this, you can see that this this is this blue box which is having some height and width, which is basically um, the width width is basically the complete page because it's a block element, and the height is basically whatever the text height is. So we treat this as a box. Now this box idea is called as box model in CSS. Okay, we call it box model in CSS. Box model means there are certain properties it this box can take. The property is, how many of you know about padding? What padding does? Okay, before
It is
yeah,
text
tell.
and
Mm-hmm. Can you repeat once?
the distance between the text and the box.
Okay. Yes. So text in the box. Okay. So whatever the difference between the content and the box, that is given by padding. Okay. I will give some border, and border is basically what you see. Oh, at this point, you are seeing there is a line. Okay. There is a line which is like wrapped for that rectangle, right? The rectangle we had is now coming in the border. Next is padding. Padding is okay. Before I supply a padding, let me give some height and width. Okay, so the height, let's say height goes as whatever height we have is, let's say 40 pixels. Okay, 40 pixels, and the width also I will supply instead of by default. So let's supply the width to be 100 pixels. Okay, you can make it to 100. Point is, this is height and width of my box. Okay, this is height and width of my box, and I have given it border. Also, I will supply some padding to it. Padding is the space between the content and the box. The padding goes 8 pixels. Okay, I will supply the padding as 8 pixels. There's something called as margin. Anyone use margin? What is why we do use margin?
Outside the box content. I mean, what do you call box model outside the box in between the page.
Hmm. Okay, can we say that space between other element and the current box, right? That is
Yes,
margin.
yes.
Okay, so let's say that I give 8 pixels to my margin. Okay, we'll see. The first point is, tell me what is the height and width of the box.
40 pixel and 200 pixel height and width.
Yeah.
Height
uh,
is 40 pixel,
okay, and width is 200, right?
200 pixel.
Okay, okay. Now, okay, so that is the height and width we have given. Now tell me what is the exact space taken of my box. What is the exact space my box is taking? Okay. Do you guys think it is okay? Now if I hover, it is saying 200, it is saying 218 pixels. Okay. If I just hover over it, it is saying 218 pixels into 58. So where is this 18 coming from? Any guesses?
It's a padding, sir.
Padding. Okay. So you can say that 8 pixel is there. Okay. So okay, now this padding is called as shorthand property. Okay, we call this padding and the margin as shorthand property. What are shorthand properties? When we combine several CSS properties into one, we call it shorthand property. Now this padding is applied to all four sides of my boxes, either be it left, right, bottom, or top. Okay, so I can give some separate height and width also, separate padding also, but I have supplied something like this. Now, whenever I say padding, this is included in my box size. Okay, so this 8 pixel will be included in my box size. So top 8 pixels and bottom 8 pixels. So now the total size will not be just so it will not be just 40 pixels the height is, it will increase with 8 plus 8. Okay, so it will be 48, and 48 plus 8, it will go to it will go to let's say 56. Okay, finally this border is also calculated, this border is also calculated in the size. So border size whatever it is, so it will be 2 pixels, then 56 plus 2, it will be 58. So that is why we are having the height as 58. The margin is also calculated in the height and width. Okay, but it is not showing over here. Margin is also calculated in the height and width. So this is what the complete box model is. So tell me what is the sequence? What is the sequence of these styles? What is applied first? What is closest to the text? Okay, you can see the same thing over here also. Okay, if you select a box, you can see the same thing over here also. The content is 200 into 200 pixels into 40 pixels. Okay, now padding, you can see top and bottom is applied 8. So the first closest is padding, then comes the border, okay, which is 1 pixels. At last comes the margin. Okay, so all these make up the size of my box, and this is called the box model in CSS. If you are clear with box model of CSS, there are lots of things we will not have any doubts. Okay, so
Sir, this is a content box. How it help?
yeah,
I think this is not box mode, sir. Content box.
content box. Okay, so you are asking about that box sizing property.
Hi, sir.
Okay, so you want to tell something about box sizing?
Actually, this is a content box mode, sir, not a box.
Hmm. Okay, let me apply this. So if we have something called as border box, let's see what happens right now. Now, okay. So as we are, so this is a property. Okay, so box sizing property. Now this box sizing property says, "Ki, do you want that whatever height and width you are setting, after having these also the height and width should be same." So you can choose border box property. Okay, if you do not want this to be applied extra, okay, then you can choose this box sizing property. But by default we have something like this. Okay, so then in case content height and width remain same and these are applied outside, like these are added to the height and width. Are you guys getting the styles whatever we discussed? Okay, so this is what box model in css is. One more thing is there, I will just add it here. We call it outline. Okay, we call it outline, and it goes something like 1 px solid, and let's have it black itself. Okay, so we have something called as outline. Now, if I see, is it included in box model? What do you guys think?
No, still not included.
It is included or not?
No, sir, it is not included. No.
Yes. So we do not include outline in case of box model. Okay. So that is what we have. Like it, this does not have any effect on the size of my box. Okay. So these are some styles which we will be discussing here and there. Okay. So I hope box model is being clear to you guys. Okay, adding CSS to HTML. Let's see what are the ways we have to add the CSS to HTML. And before I move, let me copy the styles. Okay, so I can copy this and I can paste it somewhere. Okay, so tell me what are the ways of adding CSS to HTML?
By using links
Okay, one is in line.
and then using header styles, sir.
Okay, using a style. What we call that?
That is in the
Mm-hmm. So in whenever we write is our style in style tag, what we call that tag? What we call that type of?
inner line.
Okay. Do we call it internal CSS when we write in style tag?
So for the internal
Yes.
internal CSS, I mean, in the tag cell, style is to
Yes. Yes.
is
Okay.
inline in the sense
Mm-hmm.
which are interlines. In
Okay.
header, it is called as inner line.
Mm-hmm.
In the tag element tag, this is inline. Right?
Yes. Okay. Okay. And what is the other one? There's one more.
The outer, I mean, using link.
Okay. So using the link tag, right? The external CSS. Um, I hope this is clear to you guys. Okay, let's try it one by one. So we have something called as a style tag. I can simply come over here and write something like this. Okay, so I can say whatever styles I have, it is perfectly supported here, and I can write it. Okay, and this will work in the same way. If I just load it, it is going to be working in the same way. So we can see that there's one thing which is called as internal CSS. So we can write directly in the style tag in heading. Okay. Next is inline tag. Okay. So let's use this also. So I can write a style over here. Okay. So like supplying border and something something. I can just write it here also. So let's have it here too. I will copy all this. Okay, so I guess you guys are thinking it won't look good. Obviously, it won't look good. We'll discuss this thing also. So we should be using it or not using it. That is also a question. Third type. So either you go with this approach, either you go with this approach. So if I just comment this part, this should be working as well. Right? We shouldn't be having anything. Okay, so this is also working as well. Third type is using a link tag. Okay, link tag, self-closing tag. Also, before I link, I need to create a CSS file. So CSS is for the full form of CSS, guys.
Style.
Cascading style sheet.
Yes, cascading style sheet. Okay. So now we have something called as, okay. So how many of you know about link tag? Why it is used?
I know, sir, to link the relate
Hmm. Okay, so whenever you have to link with some resource, okay, you need some resources can be, let's say, image, let's say favicon, let's say do you guys know about favicon?
So I know the in the title it's shown in the title the image.
uh, yes, in the tab you see this image, right?
Ah, that
So we call this as favicon, so you can just add it. Okay, we'll see how do we add it. Acha, the point is, link tag is used to either link to any image or a style or javascript. Okay, so that is why we use it. Now I will use link to link with my css file. Okay, so I will say rel. Rel is for
relation,
relative,
relation.
relative.
relative.
And
Okay, relationship, right? I guess. Okay, so it is for a relationship. It defined the relationship of with the document. Okay, so if you have image, so you'll say file type image or pngx, like something is there. Okay, so these are some particular text we use. Okay, now here comes hyperlink reference. So I can simply say a style.css. Okay, so this is the third way. Okay, so either I go with this way, either we go with this way, and otherwise this is the. Although we will not be using inline, okay, because there is a reason of not using it. So remove this one. Let me comment it out. Okay, so this is how I linked with my file. Okay, I will quickly refresh it. It means that there is some problem in linking. So what did go wrong? So it says a relation. Okay.
Spacing types are type equal to yes, text by CSS.
Okay. So it should be okay. Got it. Thank you. So it should be just a style sheet, right? And type should be text slash CSS. Text slash CSS. So this is also one important attribute needed. So type should be there, text HTML, text CSS, and relationship style sheet. I will just quickly refresh. And okay, so we are having this. Now whenever we try to open a link, okay, what happens is how is style applied. That is also very um, like that is also an important thing to know. How exactly are we applying the styles? Now, whenever I try to open a HTML page, the HTML page is downloaded in my browser. Okay, somewhere in the storage, it is downloaded in the browser. Along with that, whatever files I am using, in this case, CSS file I'm using is style.css. So this also comes. So this is inspect element. We get it, right click and inspect. There is a source tab. Okay, source tab. You can come in the source tab and you can see all the files over here also. So we have this div over here. Okay, so this is what we have. So these are the three ways to link a CSS to our file. Okay, we need to discuss something. Let's say that I have some different. Okay, let me increase this. Outline is not needed anymore. Let me comment this part. For my box, I want to apply some background. Okay, background color. Let the background color be some colors. Let it be one color over here. Also, I want to enable this also. I want to enable this. No outline needed. I will say background color. The background color can go to this. Finally, I want to add something to my line style also. and inside this it will be basically background color, and it have a something brown. Now tell me, okay, so inline style is having color brown, okay, this is having blurry wood, and this is having best. Tell me what will be the color of this div.
Sir, first preference is inline, sir, style.
Okay.
Another is ID, sir. Next further.
Mm-hmm.
The next preference is class, sir.
Okay.
Next is inner line.
Okay. So yeah, okay, correct. The point is, if I see my box over here, it is coming in brown color. Now, if we check, we applied three different background colors, okay, and the inline is given the preference. What if I do not have the inline color? Let's remove this one. Save the file. Second is internal CSS is having blurry wood, and external CSS is having bisque. Okay. So here is my internal CSS. Here is my external CSS. Tell me what should be the color of the background.
External, sir.
Internal CSS.
It should be for external or internal.
External, sir, I think.
Why is that?
I think internal.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. So the color I see over here is okay. So I'm not too fond of colors. I need to check it. What is being okay? Which color is being applied? So I can see that external CSS color is applied. Now, so tell me, is so what happened here? Is external CSS having high priority than internal CSS?
Yes, sir.
Is it
No,
true?
no, no. Actually, external CSS has high preference.
External CSS
High preference than internal.
has high preference than internal.
Uh,
Okay. So let's see one more thing. Okay, let's see it again. But now internal is being applied. It means preference is not the issue here.
Actually, you write the line in between above. Depends
Yes,
on the way you write the line link.
yes, correct. So basically, internal external has the same priority. Depends on who is overriding the style. Okay, so this is applying the style, and this style is overriding the style, canceling the style. Okay, is it clear, guys?
Yes, okay.
Okay, so inline highest priority, then internal external have same depending on the order. Okay, okay. I hope that clears the thing. Now, let's move to the next thing. So these are the three ways we can attach CSS to our HTML. CSS feature and CSS3. Okay, so we'll discuss about CSS3 things later. Okay, so we have a couple of things to discuss in that, but we'll discuss it. We have some time. Next comes CSS selectors. Okay, CSS selectors. In our page, what happens is there are certain amount of elements. Okay, so we have lots of amount of tags over here, and each tag may have different style. They have different specification, alignment, and all those sort of things. The point here is, in order to give different style to different types of element and different combination of styles need to be given, we have to we need something called as CSS selectors. Can you guys tell about some selectors?
Yes, sir. First one element selector,
Mm-hmm.
ID selector,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
class selector,
Okay.
Mm,
Okay.
I think don't know so many, but two or more. There are a lot of many, sir. There are 30
Okay.
above, and I think characters of different types.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it. So we'll not we'll just see what is like of our use. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Obviously, there are like lots of things, but a smart developer knows like the whatever is required is done. Okay. Acha. So let's see it some of the tags which are important one basically. Okay. There are lots of things to cover, but okay, let's focus on the important ones. Now there is a selector. We call it ID. I hope you guys know the property of ID. Is can ID be same ID be applied to multiple element?
No, sir, I do think.
Correct. So ID is always unique. I cannot use same ID again and again. Let's try to use it. Okay. Here is div one. Okay, this is the ID, and okay. So I will also not use this internal styling. I hope you guys are clear about it. I will also not use inline styling anymore. Now onwards, we'll use only external styling. Okay. If you want to know more, you can just tell. Otherwise, will not use that again. Coming back to the point. Uh, okay, so apart from height and width and the border, let me hide other things. We do not need it anymore. Okay. So for styling any uh, like element with given ID, we put a hash before the ID. Okay, whatever be the text is there, we put a hash before it, and we write the name of the ID. Once it is done, we can supply the styles we want. So I can say background color, and I can just supply some background color. Okay. Um, Basically, if I just okay, so you can see that we can see that even though we are violating the rule, okay, even though the rule is violated, the things are working. Okay, things are working. So HTML is being kind of forgiving kind of thing. Okay, so it's not that hard thing that it will not work, right? So although ID shouldn't be used. We'll discuss it why it shouldn't be used. That's a separate topic of discussion. But the styles will work. Styles will be working. See that hashtag was there, and we are working with that. Next point is classes. Okay, so I will just remove this ID. We do not need it anymore. Next selector we have is which is important one is which is important one is basically class. So here comes the class. I will say paragraph class, and also I can assign. So classes can be applied to multiple ones. Okay, so the same class can be applied to multiple ones. Let's use this also. So whenever we have to write some style, I can say something like this. Okay. Uh, Give color to text. What is the style to color the text?
What, sir?
To color the text, what is the style?
Using color is enough, sir.
What we use?
Using color is enough, sir. I think. Color.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. You want to say something?
Oh no, I was saying the same thing.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Thank you, thank you. So yeah, obviously, like the color is the style, okay, and we can assign in like what should I assign? Let's give it brown. I don't know, like okay, let's work with it. Okay, so color can be anything. I am sure it will not be looking that nice, but yeah, the point is classes can be applied to one, and it will also be working in the similar fashion. We have this. You can see that this is also being converted. Okay. One more point before I move forward. So anchor tag, whenever anchor tag, before assigning a class to this one, before we had a class, we had some certain colors to it. Okay, so there will be some tags which have by default their color. Okay, they have default colors to them, and you can see this over here. So it says that color webkit link. Webkit is for Chrome. Okay, so Chrome is assigning colors, and all other browser have their own. For underline, we already have this text decoration. Okay, and cursor is the pointer. Cursor is the pointer over here. So this is what we have. Um, okay, now we can change it. Obviously, we can change it, but the point was we have things over here. Okay, moving to next one from ID and classes. One thing we have already seen is the element selector. So element, for element we already have this div. Okay, this element is what we already have. So these are some kind of selectors we have. Coming back to a type of more like more than one type of selectors are there, as we have said. So next selector is called as combinator selector. Okay, combinator selector. Now what is combinator selector? Let's see that also. So I will have this div over here, which will not be the same id we have something. Let's mark it something else. So we have two diffs. We have two diffs with a span inside it and a span which will not be inside it. Okay. I want to show something to you guys. So let's say that this is named dummy span 3. Acha. I have a special requirement. I want to only span styles directly which are inside the div. Okay. So if I want to do that kind of a styling, uh, I cannot write a span and style it. Okay, otherwise it will style all the spans. I cannot just style div. Okay, I cannot style div. Okay, so if you guys thinking you can give div color so dummy text will get the color. Okay, let me see. So I do not want to style this. Okay, do not style this. I do not want to apply any text style to this. My requirement is I want to style a span inside div. How should I do? Any guesses? Anyone wants to answer?
Div space spans
What we can use?
in a nested selectors. You combination
Okay, so we can. So what should be the selector?
div space.
Div space.
I think I used past. Also bank. Please see me the HTML. Please.
Okay. Okay, you are going correct. So div space and span, right?
Uh, uh,
Yeah. So yeah, correct. This will work. This will work. Thank you.
uh,
Yeah. Let's see. So this is a combinator selector. Okay. Combinator selector means combining different type of selectors. So I can assign color to this one. Okay. So maybe crimson, and I can just save it. And I see that I see that okay, just pay attention. Whatever div span, okay, so whatever span inside the div, that is only colored. Okay, so that is only colored, which is outside the div, that is not colored. Okay, and the selector which is being working here is called as a combinator selector. So this is one of thing, right? Okay, let's see one more thing. Let's make it a bit more complex. Okay, it will be good. Okay, I just want you guys to see something. Now have I have this span. Okay, let's call it nested span. Okay. Also, let's not have this color. This is very dark color, and I guess it's so div. span and a nested span. Okay, let's see. I can see that nested span is also taking the color. Okay, nested span is also taking the color. Okay, so nested span is also taking the color. And if I have, let's say, a paragraph tag, okay, so inside a div I am having a paragraph tag. Okay, that's it. So inside div I am having a paragraph tag. Inside that I am having this span. So tell me that this color, will it be applied to this span also?
Yes, sir. Actually, happened.
Okay, let's see. Okay, did we have some thing? Yeah, so yeah, obviously. So this is being applied to this, but I do not want, I just want whatever be the direct child of my div, that span should be colored, not all the childs. So for that, we have one more selector, which is something like this. Okay, so div angular bracket, which is something a sign of greater than. Okay, then we have the. Okay, did I save it? Oh, okay, the color is same. I need to change the color. Okay, let's make it a bit grayish. Okay, that's, so I can see that only the span which is directly direct child of my div, okay, that is getting this color. Okay, so I will just pick this one, pick this span. So this span is direct child, okay, direct child. So we do this. None other than direct child will be style. So there are two types of. So there are these two. These two are combinator selector, but there is a very small difference between them. Okay. Are you guys getting the difference?
Yes, sir.
The name says. Okay, I will just tell you the names. Okay, no issues. We have, and there are certain other types of selector, adjacent selector, sibling selector. Okay, just try it out. Okay, I have added the links over here. Okay, please go through it. Coming to the next class of selector, we call it a pseudo class selector. Okay, pseudo class selector. This is interesting. What are pseudo class selectors? Any guesses? What are pseudo class selector? Okay, anyways, let's discuss it. I'll put some comments. So, general CSS selectors. Okay, also call it group selector. Combi Combinator selectors. Okay. Yes. Next, we are going to learn is pseudo class selectors. Okay. What is that? Let's see. For this anger tag, we see that it is being blue in color. Okay, it is being blue in color. Let's click it. We can see that once I click this link, the color has changed. Do you guys notice the color difference, guys?
Yes.
Okay, and even in your normal day-to-day surfing on the net, you see that the links you visit is normally the links you visit is normally changed. Okay. So the color of, like, their color changes. Okay, so that is what same is happening with it. Now it means that there is some styles which can be applied based on whatever the state is. Okay, जो स्टेट है उसके ऊपर भी हम स्टाइलिंग कर सकते हैं डेफिनेटली। कैसे? हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू नो अबाउट होवर?
No, sir. I know.
सो व्हाट इज होवर स्टेट?
When you put the cursor onto the element, then some properties are applied.
Okay, so whenever I put my mouse over that element, that is considered to be as cursor. Sorry, that is considered to be as a pointer. Now, I want to say that when for now, whenever I take my mouse pointer to div, nothing happens. Okay, let's make it happen. I can say that cursor pointer, so that finger one will come. Right. So let's see this. Now, if I just style it and go over here, so you can see that the cursor style is changed. Whenever I come out, it is changed again. Now, this is not something permanent. Okay, this is not something permanent. This happens only when the hover is there. So div hover. So we call it a pseudo class selector. First one. There are some other ones. So we have one hover, then also for the anchor tag we can have. So anchor tags, there are some of them. So anchor tag we can say active. Okay. So we have something called as active. In case of active, I can say the color will go to something like um, what color should we choose? Something like this. Okay. Now, when the anchor tag is active, we can choose this color. When it is visited, okay, visited is also a state. The state we saw. Whenever you visit a link, so there is another state. Okay, so a state is different and have some other color. So active is there, visited is there. Any other state? Okay, obviously there are lots of state which we do not want to see. Okay. Maybe we can use it, or maybe we don't. Lots of states are there. Okay. Let's just be with this one. Okay. So for active, there is something. Let's a coral is there. I don't like what the color looks like exactly, but yeah. So I can see that since it is visited, so I can apply colors in case of visited. So this is red, right? Any new anchor tag which is not visited, let's do that also. Or maybe I can do something like this. Okay, so did it change? Yeah, no, not hard reload the page. What I will do is I will create one more anchor tag. Okay, let's see. This is what it is, and whenever I try to click it, okay, so whenever I click it, for some point of time, that color is there. So that is active state. Okay, so that is active state, and I linked my CSS file, so I am like you can see the CSS file is being loaded. But yeah, get back. Let's get back here. So this is called as pseudo class selector. Okay, I want to show you guys one more thing. In case of debugging, this will not be so. If you're writing styles at the instant and you need all the states, okay. So there is a way you can force a state. Okay, you can force a state. Force a state means, um, let's say that in case of div hover, okay, the background color changes to blurry wood. Okay, so whenever there's a hover on div, the background color changes to blurry wood. But for that, you have to keep your mouse pointer here. Okay, but in case of development, it is not that feasible to keep your mouse pointer. So there is a way I can get you guys. So in this div, click on the div you want to apply the state. Okay, force the state. you can just you can just right click over here, and you can go to force state, and you can choose whatever state you want to force. I will choose hover. So I can see that I have forced the state, even though it is not hovering, it is forced. Okay. So now you can check, check the colors, whatever you like. Are you guys getting the point? Pseudo class and forcing state on your elements. Okay. Now, uh, one more thing. Okay, let's finish this one. Okay, let's get done with the selectors today. Second part comes as pseudo element selector. Pseudo element selector. So pseudo element selector is, so one is pseudo class selector. What is pseudo element selector? That is also interesting. Pseudo. I hope the spelling is correct. Pseudo element selector. Okay, so pseudo element selector is there. There are some peculiar cases. The cases can be the cases can be let's say that for the first letter, okay, first letter of your paragraph, you want to make it bold. What is the style to make text bold?
Peter.
What can you repeat?
Font family or font style.
Font
Bold.
font family, font style.
And font style. Bold.
Okay, or it is font weight,
Ah,
right?
font is
Yeah.
also. Okay.
So font weight is the way to give it, like make it bold. Okay. And the valid values are 100 to 900. Okay. So 500 is the normal one. Okay. 500 is the normal ones. I can have 700. Okay. From 6 to 600 and 700, we will move forward. Okay. And this is 700 we have. Just have a quick refresh. So I can see that the paragraph first letter, you see this? It is in bold. Okay. So you can just come over here and you can see it as bold. So the peep first letter is having the font width, something like this. So 600 is less bold, and 500 is pretty normal. So 600 or 700, it's okay. Yeah. This is the first letter selector. Okay. We have something else. We also have first line selector. Okay, first line selector. The complete line will be in the this one. Okay, so let's have a second line so that we can see the difference. So you can see that the first line is only being in bold. Okay, second line is out of the bold. So this is one more. We call it pseudo element selector. Element based on the element. Part of element is being styled. Okay, complete element is not styled. So this is sort of one of the important selector is uh, be after and before, something after and before. Let's use before. Okay. Now, anyone knows what's the use of before?
Ah, yes, sir. Before the content and after the content I will use. So,
So we
text or image, anything.
yes, correct. I can give some content over here. The content can be anything. Let's say I want dot over here. Okay. So I can supply a dot before paragraph. Okay. So before the paragraph, I wanted a dot as a content. Okay. So I can just apply that also. If I want to have some photo, if I want to have something, any symbol, so that can also be given. Just like list element. Okay. Just like we have list element, we have this also. So this is okay. Does it work with single also? Let me check. Yeah, so it is working with it also. So these are called as pseudo element selector. Okay. So we have first letter, first line, and before. Is pseudo element selectors clear to all of you guys? Are you guys getting the point?
Yes, sir. I got it.
Okay. So there is a one last of it. Okay. Okay. Let's try it out. We call it attribute selector. Let's say something. Okay. Any data. Let any data. And I want to supply as something as okay. Let's apply the color itself. Also for this one, so the last type of selector we are trying is this ID with the IDs new div. Okay, let's see how it works. I'll say this and I'll just close it. Okay, document. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, so we have it somewhere here. Okay, now if I see this, this is what it is having. Okay, but this dummy span 2, why is it taking this style? Because it is this one. Now if I just remove this, so I can see that this is having blue violet color. Okay, so this type of style. Okay, so I in the um, square brackets I have written the complete attribute and its value. Okay, so it is like completely kind of what you can say, the attribute and its value, and we can apply selectors on it. So this is what I had for like selectors. Okay, combinator simple selectors, combinator selectors, pseudo elements, and attributes. I hope you guys learned something and just have a reason of it, use it, and we are good to go. Any doubts you are having with the sessions or any feedback you are having, so please feel free to tell. Till then, I will find up the attendance sheet. Guys, anyone want to discuss something?
Hi, you can see the yes. I don't.
Yeah.
Where is the link of let's okay.
Change the link of.
I want the link correctly.
Okay. Which group is this, guys? Group C. You guys are right.
Ah, I said both.
Okay. Thank you. Mm, okay. Let me see. So Achal is here. Aman is here, right? Dilip is here. Doga is here. Okay. Do we have another someone else today? Because these four guys are all here. Okay, guys, I hope you are like completing your things on like deadline. Okay, if you are behind deadline, if you need any help with the course, like please feel free to like connect. Okay, so that we are on the track. Next class will be moving towards displaying and positioning in CSS. Okay, so if you have any doubts related to it, please feel free to ask. Okay, so that we can be on the same page.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Okay.
Mm.
वो और ले लो।